Good day, everybody. It's the 29th of May, 2029, and it's a Thursday here in Belarus. It's here probably Thursday in a lot of countries. So, what time is it? It's sometime in the afternoon. I don't even know. But anyway, let's get on with the news. So, I just first should give a shout out to, before I forget, Edward. I was on the bus coming in this direction, and I met a subscriber. That doesn't happen that often. I think it's happened only 3 times to me in the 2 years. So anyway, that was pretty enlightening, and brightening, I guess. Anyway, he said keep up the good work. He liked the channel. So that's actually much better when you hear from somebody in this part of the world that's probably Russian. I don't know, his English was really good, but it's very good because I'm getting most of my news, most of it from Russian sources translated into English. And it's raining. I gotta duck underneath this area right here. I write with gel ink, and when it gets wet on the paper it starts to run and I can't read it. I don't know, this tree isn't going to do me much good either. Anyway, let's start reading here. Okay, the night before last, Russia shot down 42 drones over the Moscow region alone. 42 in the Moscow region. Wow. And it is always, escalating more and more when it comes to these drone strikes. If you look back during the Obama times when he had to sign off on every drone strike, and he liked to bomb children playing soccer and weddings. Weddings, I think, was his specialty, bombing weddings and then making jokes about it, and when he's playing golf or at dinner parties. And anyway, that's how he got the name. I don't know, he had a couple nicknames. One of them was the banker's president because all of his top donors were the banks. And he is called the drone president as well because he liked to do drone strikes. Even more than Trump. And Trump, what was that? Was that a missile? I don't think it was a drone when he killed Soleimani with 16 other people. But anyway, the nice old good presidents of the United States and their killing machine. Of course, they say everybody else is killing everybody. Except for Netanyahu. They never talk about him killing a lot of people. I don't know, they don't even talk about Zelensky bombing innocent civilians into the many thousands, by the way, by now. So, but anyway, let's keep going. 42 drones last night. He's also now, Zelensky is bragging about that he is using drone swarms. I guess this is a new thing. And Russia, I believe, has this ability, and they've been doing it as well. It's probably a lot of people were watching these. They're like fireworks displays in China, and China is using like swarm drones, and they can put on different colors. China is really, really advanced in drone technology. So I really would suggest to the United States to be a little careful if they actually are thinking that they want to start some kind of a war with China. Matter of fact, I don't know if they are that anxious. It's not like Europe, who is very, very anxious to start a war with Russia. They really, really want it badly. Of course, they want the United States to join in because even a lot of their analysts say they have no chance unless the U.S. joins in. It's very strange. The U.S. military analysts say they have no chance against Russia. And it's strange. I don't know. Maybe linking them all together, is there a chance with all of Europe and the United States? Well, that's the hope of Zelensky anyway. You guys all know that. His biggest hope is to get the United States into the war. But then, well, he's got to get in line. Netanyahu is trying to get the United States to bomb Iran. And that will not be like an overnight sort of a deal. It won't be anything like Yemen. Yemen doesn't have that much to fight back. They just have the resolve. And nevertheless, they made the United States tuck their tail between their legs and run out of the Red Sea and that whole region, because the United States started realizing, hey, we're not going to beat these guys. We can bomb them to smithereens and they're still going to be there. And it's kind of like a lot of people are asking that about Hamas too, that I think it was even Piers Morgan, now he's switched over. He used to be fully on the side of Israel, and now he's against Israel because I think he finally started realizing killing tens of thousands of children is not necessarily a good thing. Somebody actually convinced him, and it wasn't Roger Waters. I remember that's when he probably could have Roger Waters back on and maybe even apologize. I don't know. But anyway, Netanyahu, I don't know. He's not having success with Hamas. and I think he's trying to take on the Houthi. I think when did he bomb that airport? Was it yesterday or last night? I think it was yesterday. Anyway, let's keep going. Yesterday, Zelensky, he arrived in Berlin on his begging tour. Maybe it was the day before yesterday. Yesterday, day before? On a begging tour. You know, he goes all over the place begging for more money and more weapons and things like that. And he's got his Patriots, as you all know. He's getting 100 from the United States. They haven't got there yet, so beggars, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth. Beggars can't be choosers. And I don't know. You got to wait until they're all there, actually. And I heard they're not such effective as the newer Patriot systems anyway. But it's still $100 billion. It sounds like what the total? Some people say the total of all the weapons that Biden gave Ukraine was 167 or 187 billion, and Trump is already very close, and he's not even been there for, I don't know, not even for half a year, and he's already almost reached the same limit of giving money and weapons to Ukraine as Biden. And he came into office, complaining about Biden giving all this money to Ukraine, and now he's giving even more. I mean, a lot of people are not talking about it for some reason. I don't know, but I am. So, yes. Before leaving Kiev, Zelensky proposed that Ukraine launches 500 drone attacks minimum per day. And he's already been doing that. Sometimes he exceeds that amount, but he's pretty much on that. I don't know if he's been under for the past 4 or 5 days, but they got the drones, and I've been telling you that they get a lot of drones. But one of the problems might be that Russia has destroyed their biggest drone factory, and I think they've even destroyed a container in, I don't know, where was that? On Odessa, that contained a lot of weapons, and it was like explosions going off for a long time. People couldn't get anywhere near it because of all the explosions, secondary explosions. And it's probably rumored that there was a lot of drone components on that as well, not just a lot of explosives. So I don't even know who that came from. I don't think it was listed at all. But anyway, Russia's still doing a lot of destructive work against a lot of things. And there's one that they just did right before I started this broadcast, and you'll have to wait till the end of the video before I tell you about that. So we have to stay a little bit chronological here. Okay. Yes, let's see. He used a 400 drone swarm, and he said he's going to go bigger. Zelensky, he's going to get even bigger swarms of drones to be using against. So I guess they've got some sort of technology from that. Makes you wonder where they got it. I don't know. Somebody stole it from China or who knows what. Okay. And let's talk about Frederick Merz. He started complaining about Russia. He said, that Russia's been killing people and bombing churches and hospitals and kindergartens. But it seems to me that Ukraine has never gotten any evidence whatsoever that Russia has ever bombed any of those things. But yet there's all kinds of evidence. As a matter of fact, like I just mentioned yesterday, just the day before yesterday, there was a church on fire. Ukraine bombed the church, But of course, Ukraine has a lot to go before they're going to catch up with, say, Israel. Israel is the biggest in that. And Israel, their art is to make refugees go into a school. You can't go to hospitals because they've blown all of them up in Gaza. But they make them go into a school, and I think even UN workers are there, and then they bomb the school. So they kill all these people in the schools. There's always children in there too. But that's the whole goal, as I said, the whole goal, and a lot of people know that. Trump knows that, and I think, like I said, Piers Morgan now knows that. Piers Morgan should have been watching my videos already months ago, and I would have been telling about that. As a matter of fact, back in 2024, I called that the war on children, because they were killing so many children, not only in Israel, but in many other places, a lot of things like that. But it's just continuing, so it wasn't 2024. I guess we're in the age of killing children. I guess it's part of these people that support this, what do they call, eugenics movement. George Soros, Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, and so many others that want to decrease the population. So I guess maybe a good way is to kill all the children. Anyway, but it's weird because Ukraine is even having these birthing places in basements. But don't get ahead of yourself here. That is not necessarily because they want to have, what do they call them? Surrogate mothers give birth to children and then sell the children. In times they do that, but there is a more sinister reason for that, and I won't even talk about it because I don't want to ruin your day. So, but these children, you know, they have, anyway, no, I won't even talk about it. Okay, Freddie Merz, he's in the news a lot lately. He's really big in the news lately in Russia. Friedrich Merz, the new leader of Germany. And a lot of people are saying, like, it's just like Ursula von der Leyen, or I think Baerbock as well. You know, they're, and I don't even count it against them, but a lot of people do, and it's just a coincidence that they had their, like, grandfathers, or maybe even fathers. So with Merz's case, I don't know, but they had ancestors that were high in the Nazi party. Kaya Kallas, no. I don't know about her. It was her parents were high in the Communist Party, and yet in the Soviet Union, and then she hates Russian, and they lived high on the hog big time. But anyway, let's not even mention that. I've mentioned it before. Let's see. Germany's long-range missile program. Let's say. Well, Merz is saying, as long as it takes and whatever it takes. So that's what he's doing. A lot of stuff. I mean, he's pledging it. It hasn't necessarily happened, and I think he's saying that he can get some long-range missiles to Ukraine in about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks' time. This was put out yesterday, so about 2 weeks from now. And of course, this is all done in secret. Anyway, he's even said he's going to be doing all of this dealings in secret. So let's keep going here. He's expanding Germany's long-range missile program. Mostly it's for Ukraine, obviously. And his justification is that Russia is refusing to negotiate, like I already said, or agree to a ceasefire. Refusing to agree to a ceasefire. You mean like the one in Minsk? You mean like Minsk 1 and Minsk 2? Like those ceasefires when the leader of Germany at that time, who was it? What was his name? Dang, am I forgetting right now? It was Merkel. Her name. Her, you never know these days. But anyway, her name, and Francois Hollande from France, and Petro Poroshenko, all three of them, the leader of Ukraine, the leader of Germany, the leader of France, said they never intended on obeying that ceasefire. So they were flooding Ukraine with weapons, they were training troops, and they were getting them ready for a war against Russia, because as you all know, Ukraine is the anti-Russia. They have created anti-Russia, and that's very well known, very well known. That is a fact, and nobody can deny that. Ukraine is at present the anti-Russia, and of course it looks like it's going to expand. It's going to be the Baltic states, it's going to be Poland, and possibly even Germany. So now you're going to have the masters of the universe. Boy, oh boy. I don't know, Trump acts like he's opting out, but you know Trump, he wants a piece of the pie too. So I tell you what, they're going to get Trump involved in it. And of course, they're really working on Trump, really working on him hard. And that's why they are holding this information back from Donald Trump. And it sparks the Russians and a lot of analysts, to include like Scott Ritter and all kinds of people, CIA analysts, all of them in the United States, everybody who's in the know, that Donald Trump, they said that he is uninformed. I said he is also misinformed. So he's misinformed. It's like when he's saying that Russia's killing a bunch of people, and then Russia is starting to look around. They're looking really hard and trying to find out if they killed any people in those strikes. And then Russia they take pride in not killing innocent civilians. And I don't know, I am sure that sometime they have, but they do their very, very best not to do that. And Ukraine is targeting civilians purposefully. Crowded markets, how many times have they done that? School buses, things like that. And I think in the last day or so, they killed a few people already. I don't know if it was 7 or, I don't know, maybe it was only 3 or 4, I don't know, and 11 wounded. I remember 11 wounded, but I know they killed some. I don't remember the number exactly. It's just getting like old news anymore. It's like people are dying every day. Not so many, of course, in Russia as in Gaza, but still not a great thing. So, anyway, if you want to talk about Trump being misinformed, what about Merz? I don't know if Merz is misinformed and uninformed. sort of think he's just playing a game. But you know, they blocked Sputnik, they blocked RT, they blocked all of that type of news. Anything that is not anti-Russia gets blocked over there. So Germany might have a little bit more freedom of speech than some other places. As you know, if you say the wrong thing in Great Britain, you know, I think, what is it, 30 arrests every day. 30 people get arrested every day for their posts on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all of that sort of thing. I don't even remember how many it was in, sure they do it in Germany too, but I don't know to what extent and for what things, and they do it in France as well. So that's freedom of speech, everybody. That's democracy. You know, too bad we don't have that kind of democracy over here in Belarus. But as a matter of fact, you know, and I've known people that did some things here, and they might even arrest them for a short period of time, and they did worse things than a Facebook post. They did worse things, and they let them go. And some of them, they just take off and they go to Poland because, I don't know, they are firmly convinced with the propaganda to hate Belarus as well, to hate Russia, hate Belarus. It's like, I don't know how these people get to the point where they can get self-hatred of themselves. You know, if you're a Jewish person and you don't like what Israel does, they call it a self-hating Jew. So what do you call it when like Belarusians hate their government for like who knows what reason, made up reasons or minor reasons? If they hate this government, you ought to go to the United States and see the stuff that the United States does to their people, to the world, to other countries, and then you come back to me and you tell me, you know, how bad Belarus is compared to all of those jokers over there. Jeez. And even a lot of the stuff in they complain about Belarus is probably either exaggerated or made up, or it's actually probably created in the West like it used to be. As I already mentioned, it was yesterday, you know, one of the major networks that is putting out the misinformation, Voice of America, Radio Free Europe, and what was some other, you know, they have different, like a 3-letter agency that sits over them. Anyway, Europe has, Donald Trump was disbanding them or defunding them, and Europe decided, oh, they're going to keep funding it, and Bill Gates wants it funded too. It's all propaganda. It also has just something to do with coronaviruses and things like that, but you guys all know this stuff. So anyway, the Minsk Accords. Now you think about this. These people are crying for some sort of a ceasefire when Russia knows very well that the ceasefire is not gonna, it's gonna be used, you know, to supply Ukraine, to move troops around, to do all that kind of stuff. You know, they want Russia to relieve all the pressure on Ukraine so Ukraine can regroup and start moving in and taking over other territories. As a matter of fact, Zelensky says that he still has soldiers in Kursk. I think Russia said there's a few like in basements or something, and they keep urging them to surrender, but they're not surrendering. Now, do you think in your right mind, you know, these few little troops, that Russia couldn't just annihilate them right away if they so did want to? And they keep on trying to break back into Kursk, Ukraine, probably to resupply some of these guys. They want to get a foothold, give these guys maybe some food, maybe some more ammunition, and then get out or whatever. But of course, Russia's been blocking that. So that's just a suspicion of mine. Okay. What else? So, I mentioned I was going to mention that the Ukraine Accords, they were backed by the United Nations, you know, and look at what happened there when they disobeyed. They blatantly disobeyed, and during that time, they killed, what was it? That was, I think, I'm not sure exactly when was the first Minsk Accord, but anyway, Zelensky even, and of course, I think it was starting in Petro Poroshenko. Yeah, they still killed a lot of people, innocent people. Killing and bombing, you know, even with jets. Anyway, it's old news. So, let's see, what was I going to say here? If the United Nations cannot back their own laws, and of course, I don't know if the International Criminal Court is part of that as well, you know, they can't back anything. And why is it? Isn't it strange? You know, even if they did say that it was genocide in Israel, I think these people, their moral conscience compelled them to do so. But they never say anything bad about Ukraine, like what Ukraine is doing. Instead, they go after Putin based on absolutely zero evidence. And then when you do have evidence against Ukraine, they don't do anything about it. I'll have something to say about that too in just a second here. Wow, some stuff even Scott Ritter put out, but I'll get to it. Okay. Mm. Yeah, the only good about the UN Security Council, well, outside the Security Council, uh, is weak publicity. It's a tiger, you know. So if the United Nations goes against some sort of actions, at least it's a little bit of weak publicity, and it kind of slows down these evil people with their machinations. Anyway, in the West, it's terrible. Okay. Okay, Mertz, I should have put this, that's what I said, I do this chronologically. So he has, with Zelensky, I don't know if this was today, this morning, or was it late yesterday, he has pledged, now promised 5 billion euros in support for Zelensky. 5 billion, so that'll make him happy. With all the money that everybody else is sending them, I think what do they get? How many billions are they getting and guaranteed from Brussels? I'll tell you what, Ukraine is getting huge amounts of money, and as the number of people seem to drop, you know, it's less people that they need to spread out any of this money for. So it's all done for wars anyway. It's you know, but the UN, the General Assembly is like a tiger without teeth or claws anyway. So, okay. A former military or Pentagon military analyst, Michael Maloof, very, very, very good guy. He says a lot of stuff, very good. M-A-L-O-O-F, if you want to, Michael Maloof. He said all of them, like I said, he's a military analyst. He said all of these countries combined could not stand up to Russia without the United States, of course. Yes, and that's, of course, I don't know, I've already kind of talked about that, haven't I? So, but these people, all these politicians, including the United States, these are just a bunch of, they're politicians, they're greedy, they're power mad, corrupt, and of course a lot of them seem to be incredibly stupid. I'm serious. You can take somebody off the street, and I mean, well, half of the people on the streets know far more about what's, and then maybe I can even include Trump in that, and you can take half the people off the streets and they seem to know a lot more about what's going on in the world and how things are done than these people do. I don't know, maybe they're chosen because they're idiots. You know, I kind of think Vance is a much smarter guy, but I think it's mostly that these guys are, you know, like better informed, and a lot of these guys, I don't know, they didn't, you know, they got their suits, running around in their suits and their nice haircuts. I don't think they've ever really experienced what the real world is like anyway. None of them have ever been in a desperate situation where they actually had to really bite their fingernails trying to find ways to put food on the table and to pay off their rent and things like that. Boy, the rest of us know that sort of stuff. Yeah, these guys are out for enriching themselves. Macron, I mean, these guys, and they got their white powders, you know. And Macron, Mertz, Zelensky, and none of these guys, I don't think any of them, they don't care crap about their countries. They don't care about any of the crap about the people in there. They're there for themselves, and they're making their, what do they call it, a golden parachute for when their time is over. They're going to be living in luxury and prominence and say, I did this, you know, and twist things around and say how great of things they did for their country. You know, Boris Johnson, you know, they're trying to bring him back and dust him off and make him the, what is it, not Chancellor, the Prime Minister again of the UK. And I've already mentioned many times about these guys. They have their secret accounts, their what are they, Panama and their Pandora Papers. I mean, all of this sort of stuff. They got a lot of money and a lot of bank accounts, hidden accounts all over the world. That's probably one reason why that. I talked about that before. James Cameron, it was discovered that he had some millions. I think that was when they exposed the Panama Papers. That wasn't the Pandora Papers. And that scandal, I think, had a lot to do with him stepping down as Prime Minister. So, you know, and he used the Brexit as an example. Not an example. Whatever. Anyway, he said it was because of the Brexit, but it's, I don't know. You never know about these things. Okay. So, yeah, these guys, they all have enough money anyway. They never have to work, and their children will never have to work if they don't want to. Wow. And they will never die. They will never die in a conflict, and their children will never die in a conflict. Never. Never. So, these people, they're all set for life. They don't give a crap about any of you. They don't care crap about their country or the environment or anything. They all have maybe their little houses and their bomb shelters, their bunkers on tropical islands where they have already paid a lot of money to the politicians. And I know about that kind of stuff. I lived on a small tropical island of my own, as you guys all know. I know about things that go on there. There's some money trading hands and things like that, because a lot of these countries, they're so small, they, you know, and they need a lot of times, a lot of the things that their expenses that they need to meet are similar to what a big country needs, but yet they don't have the revenue coming in, so they're thirsty for revenue to get this. And a lot of them, they have their golden parachutes too. All of these guys, very rich guys, a lot of these leaders. As a matter of fact, a small country, and I know this for a fact, say you have 150,000 people that live in that country, the citizens, and you guys would not even believe it, but those leaders of those countries, they get the same pay as the president of the United States does. In a tiny country like that, with a population the size of dead donkey, South Dakota. Okay, this is another one. Now this is a good one. This is what I was going to get at, and it's probably the main part of this video. I mean, the main shocker kind of information. And that's what I said, like Scott Ritter was also mentioning it. The United States, or no, the United Nations Security Council, Russia was complaining about what atrocities and things that Ukraine was committing in Kursk. And I'm just talking about Kursk. And this does not even include the Donbass necessarily. I don't think it was anything to do with the Donbass, or any of these other regions. But this was in Kursk. And you remember that Kursk, it was not only Ukrainian troops that invaded there, it was also, there were, I think, definitely American troops. There were quite a few British troops. There were French troops, and there were Colombian troops, and a lot of Polish troops there. And a lot of them are regular military. And as I know, in the United States Army, what they do is what do? Suspend your status as an active duty soldier for a while, and then you're even allowed to grow your long hair and grow beards and stuff that you're normally not allowed to do, and things like that. And of course, special forces and all that, as I know, they already can have longer hair and grow beards and things like that at their choice. So, but anyway, so that they look less U.S. militarized. So, anyway, these people and some of these atrocities, I wasn't going to tell you about the other atrocities about children, but let's talk a little bit about what, and these are the things that, and oh, it's really raining now, and Russia, believe it or not, has video footage of a lot of these things, if not all of them, that I'm going to talk about. And it's not that they shot those videos. These invading soldiers shot those videos. I don't even have a coat. I don't have a raincoat or nothing. I hope this rain doesn't last long. Okay, so anyway, when the Russians started complaining at the UN Security Council, I don't know if it was the United States or what representative, they said, "Don't waste our time." It's like, what? You know? Isn't that where we're supposed to bring this stuff up? They said, "Don't waste our time." What Russia was reporting from this in the Security Council meeting, they showed evidence of Ukrainian atrocities that went into Kursk. Ukrainian and foreign mercenaries, I already said that, recorded the atrocities. Wow. Lady in the red dress. There's a Russian literature lady in the red dress. Anyway, it's the same thing that Scott Ritter was mentioning also. Somebody was doing an interview on him online, and he was talking about these really horrible atrocities of what Ukraine was doing. Absolutely incredible. I mean, when you and they recorded it on phones and probably laughing while they were doing some of these things. One of them is, and of course I think it's the worst one, is they took a boy. He was resisting, obviously, and they took him. I don't know that they tied up his hands behind him. I just heard the description, kind of, you know, and they shoved his his face into a fire. And they kept it there, and they kept it there. His hair was burning, his face was burning, he was squirming, writhing in pain, and they just burned him and burned his face off until he died that way. So, nice guys. And then there was another one where they had some guy, I don't know, a man, also in Kursk, also a civilian, and they captured these people. There's a lot of atrocities. I heard of other ones as well. I've probably mentioned already on here. But this one here, they take this guy, and this was put in the Security Council, so they showed some of this evidence. I don't know if they were stopped because the Security Council didn't want to hear it. They said, you're wasting our time. They don't really give a crap about what happens to Russians. So anyway, there was a guy, and I guess they told him, and this is on video, that they are Nazis and that they are going to kill him. And they were playing Nazi songs, and I don't know if they had swastikas. They didn't say anything about that, but they said they were Nazis, and they were playing Nazi music, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they have some Nazi symbols on their uniform. I'm almost positive they would. And anyway, they said they're going to kill him. So they got tired of the guy, and they did kill him. I don't even know how they killed him, but they don't kill these people in very nice ways. So, and then of course there's other things where they hoard people into the basements and then throw grenades in there. That's another one that they really love to do. And of course that's what the Georgian military did that one time when they invaded into South Ossetia. They would shoot, with their machine guns through the windows of houses in South Ossetia. These are also US backed and US trained soldiers that are doing this. So they would machine gun in through the windows, and then the people would go into the basement like at bomb shelters to get away from these bullets and all that. And then the Georgian people backed by the West, the United States and the European Union, of course, they would throw grenades into the basement and kill everybody with that. So they killed, I think, 3,000 and all that, and then until Russia actually came in and saved those people. If you guys don't remember that, in 2008. Anyway, that was Saakashvili, the United States Yale educated leader, who then later became the mayor of Odessa in Ukraine. I don't think he was even voted. They just gifted it to him or something, I think he's still in prison in Georgia. But anyway, you guys can look all that stuff up on your own. Let's see. Oh yeah, well, they tortured that guy that they said they're Nazis and stuff. Okay. And some of the Ukrainian soldiers have even admitted to these things. They even have this stuff on Telegram and on other channels where they are admitting it, and they were told what they were told to do. They're telling a lot of things. There's so much evidence. And I think it's probably the Security Council, maybe all these nations are just tired of it, because it's mountains and mountains and mountains of evidence of crimes and tortures and killings and all sorts of things. It is like endless. It is like endless. Russia says, they propose that they're going to hold all of these people accountable that did all these crimes. And I don't know. It's a lot of people. I mean, into the thousands. I don't know. That's a lot of work. It's going to take a long time. So a lot of these people will be long passed away before they get around to their time in court for some of the atrocities they've committed. I don't know how the Russians are going to find precedents when the time comes and when they win this war against the Nazis. And then by Nazis, I also, and now I'm pretty soon I'm going to be saying Germany as well. And I am sorry to say that too. I lived in Germany, I love Germany and all that, but I'm not saying that you people are Nazis, but unfortunately your government, it looks like it is a Nazi government, and I don't know if there's any way to deny that, because it looks like old Merz, he has a delight probably in trying to kill Russians as well. It's just like Kaja Kallas. She used to be the prime minister or whatever of Estonia, and she says we have to find ways to kill more Russian children. So anyway, so that's probably why it takes a long time for my videos to load up, because I'm saying all of this stuff. Okay. But anyway, I was going to say the main point of all of this is you see what's going on, and it's a huge move into Nazism. Really big. This is really some troubling stuff. I think Scott Ritter and so many people will agree with me on that. I don't even need to ask them. I'm sure other people have even said this. Yes. So we all think that Trump is going to right the wrong. And I guess they're going to give Ukraine massive amounts of weapons and F-16s and everything possible so that they can deal from a position of strength. And I tell you what, that's going to prolong the war. That's all it's going to do. They think that Russia's going to surrender, I don't know, maybe they think that Russia is going to allocate a lot more money to warfare. Maybe so. And they're going to maybe make Russia go bankrupt. I don't know. Maybe that's the deal. Okay. Now, it might be a little bit different in case of Israel, because he's sending thousands of bombs to Israel, and the Palestinians, they don't have much to fight back with. And Turkey's never going to join in. Turkey is probably on the side of Israel. I don't know. Erdogan is nothing but a big bag of wind, so just talk. And the other countries, I don't know. I don't blame them for not wanting to get involved necessarily, but Turkey is very powerful. But anyway, and they don't want to get up with an alliance. They all know that if you do anything against Israel, the United States is going to be going after you. I don't know. Unfortunately, the U.S. government supports this massive amount of killing and the extermination of the Palestinian people. I don't know. Just wait until the Palestinian people start to realize that the U.S. government wants them exterminated probably as much as the Israeli government. Okay. Scott Ritter, he put out that Trump and most around him seem to know little to nothing about Russia, and it shows. He also mentioned that it is almost 100%, he didn't say it in that way, I'm just kind of paraphrasing, certain that the West helped Ukraine he basically is saying that the West, somebody in the West definitely helped Ukraine when they were trying to assassinate Putin with those drone swarms. And I guess maybe that's when Zelensky was bragging about his 400 drones, because I think it was 430 they were using against Putin, at least on Putin's airplane. So that's probably when he was bragging about the swarms. Maybe he didn't know how to how to use those so well. So he guy's looking at me. So he was wasn't successful in assassinating Putin. Anyway. Well, there was some kind of a weapon, I think, that Ukraine has now. Something about very effective, I think, with lasers to shoot down drones. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. We'll find out in the next days or weeks or something. Okay, Scott Ritter also mentioned that Ukraine strikes into Russia, and he's very right. I've heard it from other people. They have no military value. No military value whatsoever. He didn't say it, but I say it. That he said political value. I say terrorist. They're terrorist in nature, and they only have terrorist value. And of course, what they're trying to do is provoke Russia, as he said, into actions. And like I said, he said it very well, but I'm saying it also probably fairly well. And the same thing. But Ukraine is doing that to provoke actions that Ukraine can leverage, that he used leverage, against Russia, and I put in media and political value. So these things have political and media value, that they're going to the provocations. So they do these things against Russia, and lo and behold, it never gets reported in any press whatsoever in the West. All these killings and these drones hitting these apartment buildings, bombings, in marketplaces while people are shopping. Why is it never reported in the West? So then when Russia responds to these things, Russia looks like the bad guy, and Trump, of course, fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Putin has gone crazy, he's killing people, And that's the big buzz all over in Russia right now, that Putin he was not even informed, or he's misinformed, both at the same time. saying that Putin is killing innocent people and probably in apartments, when in fact they bombed a drone factory and such things like that. So anyway, whatever Zelensky's doing, it is working, because they're fooling a lot of people. Most importantly, Donald Trump. And of course, Mertz and all these people. I don't know if they're getting fooled or they're just playing like they're really stupid. So, yesterday, Satan Yahoo said that there is no starvation. I put that out. There's no starvation in Gaza. But the people in Palestine and Gaza, they're all fat and they're lazy. They're overweight, fat, and lazy. And today in Gaza, there were some people killed in a stampede because they had, I think it's the World Food Program warehouse, and I don't know if, I think they broke in, and hundreds of people, and some were stampeded and killed in these stampedes of these poor people trying to get food. You know, these fat and overweight people that Netanyahu's talking about. And even, I don't know, Trump, maybe he still realizes, I don't know, maybe Netanyahu was saying, oh, none of these people are starving, they're all fat and lazy. But these hordes were described as desperate hordes of hungry people. Wow, and it's in central Gaza. And Trump, Putin, I don't know, it looked like fake news because I don't think Trump or Putin is that stupid. He said he wants a written guarantee from the West against NATO expansion. Well, gee, do you think, what do you think? Do you think that's going to be worth the paper it's printed on? Even if Trump would want to honor it, and Trump doesn't want it, he doesn't honor his agreements. He finds a way to wriggle out of everything anyway. So I don't know. Good luck on that one, Mr. Putin. Okay. Kaya Kallas said yesterday that the EU, she indicated and said in so many words that the European Union wants to gradually control the entire Black Sea. And they want to be able to regulate everything that Russia does and be in charge of everything, any sort of deals between Russia and Ukraine. So anyway, they have their dreams of taking control of the entire Black Sea. Good luck on that one too. I don't know. They want to take control of the entire Baltic Sea, make it a NATO lake. They haven't got that yet, so I don't know. And they all have their sights on Kaliningrad. It used to be Königsberg in Germany back in the old days, in the Prussian times as well. I studied that era with the first dynasty, Ascanian dynasty, Albert the Bear from Saxony. Or was it Saxon-Anhalt? I think he was like the first leader. 11 something, he was appointed and sent there to the Northern March. I've already mentioned that stuff. That was like what I like to study, but anyway. Okay, Russian head of the Duma Defensive Committee. His name is Andrei Kartapolov. He's a very high-ranking person in the Duma. And he said that Russia is ready to shoot down any of these German Taurus missiles. And not only that, to strike the launch sites where they came from, but also the places where they came from, where these missiles came from. And I'm thinking, and a lot of people are already talking, is strikes inside of Germany. Russian striking inside of Germany, because it is not, the fact is not lost upon the Russian government that these missiles have to be fired by German soldiers in Ukraine, so it's going to be Germany actively bombing Russia. Okay. So, Germany's Welt has mentioned, I said Welt, I don't know if they mean Die Welt. Anyway, Germany's Welt has mentioned that Zelensky and Mertz have arranged a secret weapons package. Well, Mertz already said that, I announced that like a week ago, that he's going to be doing a lot of stuff in secret with weapons and things, probably so he can give some devastating crap to Zelensky. Okay. And that one, he said this, it may not even include the Taurus missiles. And that will be part of a separate agreement. A separate agreement. Many in Russia are saying that the use of the Taurus means Germany as well as German soldiers are therefore involved directly, and Russia will have no choice but to strike Berlin, some of them even said. By Berlin, I don't know if they mean Berlin, the city, or Berlin as it is the capital, like striking Kiev or Washington. I don't know. Or maybe, anyway. So, And also what I was going to also mention, that something that just happened, it was like what, 1 o'clock time today. So this was, I don't know, maybe an hour ago. Russia struck the headquarters of Ukraine's Southern Command Special Operations headquarters in Nikolaev with an Iskander. So wow, 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 wow. In broad daylight, it looks like. They hit that with an Iskander missile that are in charge of the Southern Command, basically in charge of operations in Odessa and Nikolaev and all of that region. So it looks like they are probably, a lot of them anyway, are eliminated. I am a Terminator. Okay. So, another thing I read, Russia, as you all may know, the Judo Federation has banned them from international competition. And but Ukraine is boycotting the World Championships in June of Judo Championship. As you know, Putin likes judo. That's his deal, is judo. So maybe that's why they thought, we'll stick it to Putin by banning Russia from the Judo Federation competition and the championships. So, but anyway, why is Ukraine boycotting it? It's because Belarus was not banned. Since Belarus is competing, they said they are boycotting it. So it kind of makes you wonder. They have a little bit of time. They let this be known, I guess, long enough in advance to give the Judo Federation time to ban Belarus. And then they'll all be happy and singing, join hands and sing Kumbaya and say, oh wow, Ukraine is back with us. You know, we got rid of those evil Belarusians. Maybe their blood is closer to Russians than the Ukrainians, so they're the inferior beings, they're species. Okay. So, anyway, that's about all I have today. It looks like it's almost 50 minutes. And thanks for joining me. And again, shout out to Edward that I met in the bus today, and anybody else. Thanks for your comments, everybody. Thanks for your support. And yeah, I hope it stops raining. Maybe I can get some more beautiful footage for you. Sun's coming out now. You see it's getting blue? Okay. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.